Hello and welcome to Sable's World Forge. I know that's not what it says on the thing, but I figured there was no point in changing it at this point since I'm going to have to change it again after I'm done because I went live without changing it. So, you know I'm here and you know it's me, and so that's probably the relevant point. Yeah. So, how's everyone doing today? I see we've got a couple of showcases already. Hello, James. First in the chat by Miles. I think he was here at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Awesome. Awesome. Hello, Masadis. Good to see you. Hello, Amelie. Thank you very much for the resubscription. 7 months. That's really awesome. I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much. It's very helpful to the channel. It's very helpful to me in general. I really appreciate it. You're amazing. Yes, hello, The Right Idea. Hello, Gwen. Good to see you. There's our first showcase. There's our second showcase. Gwen says, Sable went up just in time. I was in Travis's stream, but he decided to shave his head. I couldn't watch. I figured he was probably going to. I was watching his stream too. I was lurking, but that's cool. You're going to get partial camera today, by the way, because I don't know if it looks like it to you, but I feel like my eyes and stuff are all puffy because I was deep in the dusty room that had not been touched in a long time packing yesterday, plus all the various smoke around here. My allergies cannot take it, so yeah, it kind of sucks. So please do my showcase when I unlurk. No problem, James. We got lots of time. We're good to go. He's gonna go get his birthday cake. Yay, and he asked for Game of Thrones cake. Oh, that's so sweet. You have a picture? Please tell me you have a picture. If not, take a picture, because that's cool. That is so cool. Game of Thrones cake. That is really awesome. Oh, Masadi's is fighting a migraine. Oh, no. Hang out here to fight the boredom. Well, that's fair enough. And, you know, at least you're with friends. I'll try not to be too loud and annoying. Trade item article from James. And The Right Idea was sharing a poem with us, I believe. Nope, this is prose. This is cool. Okay. Yep. We'll do that. And we'll do James's showcase. I'll put those up so that they're handy. Portuguese carob. Okay. Cool. Oh, The Right Idea says I found a new streamer called Uncle Good Vibes. Told him to check your stream out. A Canadian fella, and he has impeccable vibes. Nice. Cool. Always happy to meet other Canadians out there who are streaming. Just because, I don't know, we feel like a minority in a sea, you know? So, that's always fun. How is everyone today? I hope you're all doing well. When I'm writing today, by the way, I'm not going to have chat available because Jamie took my phone. He's out doing an errand for me, actually. He's running my mother around, so I can't complain, right? But, okay, for those who want to know, the house hunting is not going well. It's the 15th. We still don't know where the hell we're going. We're going to phone the landlord and see if we can get away with, like, you know, staying one more month tomorrow. So, we'll see, just because nothing has let itself out yet. Packing's going pretty well. Getting the bins has been really helpful because we just, you know, throw shit in it if we, you know, don't think we need it anymore. And good, because I've been meaning to downsize and throw out a bunch of junk for forever. So, hey, kicking the ass is a step forward, right? So that's always a good thing. On the other hand, I am hopeful today because it turns out that there are actually a few mobile homes that are available for sale in our area. They run somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150,000. And looking at the mortgage and the down payment, we can afford this. Like, we have the money to do this. I didn't even think about owning because currently the average price for house owning in the Okanagan is $1 million. I don't have $1 million. I'm never going to have $1 million, right? But it is possible we might be able to own, and that would be really cool. I don't mind a mobile home, double wide, you know, few bedrooms, sitting room, plug in my RV nearby, we're set, you know? That'd be just perfect. The big thing I'm going to have to find room for is books. It turns out most of my crap is books. Go figure, huh? Right? Wow, just like the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, yeah. It's a fucking shit show out there. It's amazing, right? But trailers we can afford. And there's one that we're looking at in particular that is out on Maple Lake Road, which is a nice rural area of a little nearby town called Lumbee. I looked it up and it's half an hour for Steve to get to work, right? And probably a little bit more than that, like 4 minutes more than that or so for Jamie to get to work. So that was, fingers crossed, guys. Put some magic towards that if you do magic or prayer or whatever, if you believe in it. Could use your help. Let's get that place. And Jamie and Aaron told my mom today that we're thinking about buying a trailer. And she went, well, I was going to give Diane, I've got about 100,000 and I'm going to give Diane 50. So you could have it to buy the trailer. And I thought about that and I went, well, that's not going to hurt either her or me. Right? So, that improves our equity chances, right? So, does that include the land, or will you have to pay land rental? That is a good question, and but it said nothing about pad fee on the real estate listing, and it does on others. So I assume actually you just own that piece of property. It just happens to be a trailer park, right? I know, right? The right idea saying that's a brilliant idea. Exactly. I thought about that and I'm like, well, okay. Mom's been trying very hard to hold on to her savings because she really wants to give it to my brother and I. And, but I can't take it, right? Because with Aaron on disability, right, they would just take my money away, basically, right? So, but if we put it right into equity, into a house, they can't touch it, right? And that would help now. And then she wouldn't have to worry about that other half of it. And anytime she said, well, what about this or that on your savings, and not getting things for herself, which I would prefer she do, right? She's like, I can be like, no, Mom, don't worry about me. I'm good. You did for me. I'm okay. Right? So that would be, 50K towards a piece of land. The problem is I would have to buy the land and then I would have to buy the place as well. I can't afford it, right? Trailer is about the best I can hope for. And you know what? Even if there is a pad rental, so what? It's cheaper than rent. Okay? It's cheaper than rent around here. Rent is typically running somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a month, depending on how small the place is and whether it's an apartment or a house. Yeah. Sorry for party. Oh no, that's cool. No, it's cool. I appreciate the suggestions and help. I just figured, I don't know, it's probably TMI anyway. I just figured I'd, kind of let you guys know where we're at, right? Because pretty soon you're going to start seeing this stuff in the background packed up, right? I've kind of been leaving it till last because it's out of the way and I'm keeping most of it. So if it's in this room, I want it generally. So, I'm throwing out garbage. Hey there, Uncle Good Vibes. Nice to meet you. So where in the country are you from? I understand that you are a fellow Canadian. So that is cool. I'm in BC. So right in the middle of the, fire zone right now. Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg. I know that's not the first thing you ever hear about Winnipeg. People go, oh, Winterpeg, right? Yeah, okay, so it gets cold in the winter. But, it's a beautiful city and it's got... I have a friend who's lived there for a long time and she's really involved in the art scene. So she took me around and showed me what Winnipeg is really like, the stuff that the locals see. And it's, there's these beautiful galleries and there's, this so many green spaces and just, stuff to do all over the place. And it's a nice city and I really liked it. So that's cool. That's cool. I hope you're in a nice area in Winnipeg and that you like where you're living. That's, that's kind of awesome. There were some really nice little suburban areas in there. It was cool. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to get started on my work. I am way behind on 31 Days, 31 Stories. I figured that I would start with, putting the prompt into my document today, which I haven't even done yet. right? And then I'm still behind on my editing for the typesetter, so I have to get that done. So what you're going to be looking at is the manuscript pages on World Anvil for my manuscript, because I'm, where I make little changes in the Word manuscript for the typesetter, I'm also making those changes on the site, right, where it's published for patrons. So, that way it's consistent. And so what you're going to see is the same page for a while, and then it'll change as I find some other little change to make, right? Doing things like, I've been through the fucking thing about 100 times now, and I'm still correcting details on the rank insignias and uniforms. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know. I've changed my mind about that about 100 times, but I've now decided on something, and so I'm looking it up and confirming that everything's accurate. Little continuity edits, like sometimes, because Star Pilot is capitalized, I was capitalizing Pilot House for a while, but I didn't do it all the time, so I decided, nah, fuck it, I'm just not going to capitalize it, and I changed that right through the whole thing. So yeah, that kind of little fussy stuff, right, which is boring as hell, which is why I'm glad I have company while I'm working on it. So let's get started, shall we? And after the first sprint, we'll do the first showcase. Okay. And I think I'm going to turn my camera off for this. Oh, yeah, I guess you kind of need to see what I'm looking at, don't you? Okay. Might help. That's what I'm currently looking at. That's James's article, but we're not going to showcase that yet. We're going to go here, like I said, and we're going to set up the prompts for 31 Days, 31 Stories. Okay, and I'm going to go cameraless for a minute. So I'm still here. I'm chatting away. I'm just going to blank the camera when I find it. There it is. All right. Oh, hey. If I'm not going to have my chat window open, I might want to have the monitor on the other computer set up. There we go. Now I see what I'm looking at. Excuse me. All right. Now, what were today's prompts? And I'll come up with whatever I'm writing for the story. Because remember, I've decided that my version of the challenge is that I'm going to start a story for each of the 31 days. And I'm going to put down enough of it that I know what I'm doing with it and can come back to it and write it later. I hoped to get more done this month, but it's just been too crazy. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself, and I'm going to give myself the opportunity to succeed rather than beat myself up for not doing the whole thing, right? So I'm a slower writer anyway. I'm just a persistent one. I keep at it and then it gets done. And that's how books get published, even for slow writers. So, yeah. Nobody tells me what they're working on today. Honestly, I'm interested. Are you trying to write them based in your multiple different universes? Asks the right idea. Not necessarily, although that is an option. Oh, and hi, Bob. Good to see you. I can. When I think it's going to be suitable to that universe, I will, but not necessarily. It's not required. I've come up with one idea each for the Weird West and the Toysoldier saga now, but I'm quite happy to write independent stories. The key thing about them is that they have to be science fiction and fantasy. I'm kind of looking to create a bit of a catalog for stuff that I can submit to magazines. I've actually had really good success with that, I should say. And this is something that took my guys to point out, right? I've got about 14 stories in my back catalog, short stories that I took seriously and thought would be worth submitting to magazines. And as of September 1st, when The Mysterious Death of Mr. Park comes out in Cosmass Infinities, I will have published 9 of them. Right? That's actually, and some of them twice or 3 times. So that's actually a really amazing acceptance rate. And like when you look at it, like most authors have something in the neighborhood of a 10 to 25% successful submission rate. So my guys were like, you do realize that people would be bitterly jealous of this, right? You should write some more short stories, which is why I'm taking part in this challenge. So, Bob's kind of between stuff. Got the 2 flash challenges done, excellent. Been trying to stabilize my streaming gaming setup with new soundboard software. Yeah, that's quite the challenge, eh? I hope that you're able to figure it out because it'll make the World Builders Forge streams so much more effective. Still have conflicts between Discord and OBS. Yeah, I hear ya. Oh, the right idea is working on a short story for their short story collection today, but taking a break at the moment. Well, that's awesome. Eeps, I got 9 minutes left in the sprint. I better get my ass in gear, eh? One thing I will say, these prompts are excellent for sparking ideas, but I haven't been as happy with the use this sentence versions. No, Bob, I don't have showcases still switched off. It's just that I have already got 2, but I forgot to increase my limit to 3. So, because I'm back to 3 now because summer camp is over. So, if you want a showcase, Bob, put in the showcase someone else twice, and it's the same cost as if you bought the showcase. I think. Let me double check that. Oh no, it'd be like 4 of those. Oh well, you know what? Put into the showcase another, and I'll let you get away with it for 1,000 today, because my error. So mine is short, and so is James. So there may be time. Yep, absolutely. You know what? There will be time today, so it is totally fine. Nice. Okay. I just love the look of your articles, Bob. They're so pretty. There we go. Okay, cool, we'll do that. Anyway, as I was saying about the sentences, the problem is I don't like the sentences. I like the ideas that they're spawning, right? But this sentence is awkward, right? As the wind whipped and whirled around them, they felt their feet slip from beneath them. I would have put it to say the same concept. I might have left it to, as the wind whirled around them, right? They felt their feet slip. I wouldn't have said from beneath them. Or the ground caved in. Or something like that. I just don't like the way it's put. Right? So, and that's a personal style thing, obviously. Uncle Good Vibes says, I'm working on a short story. Oh, thank you for the Let's Talk More, right? Okay. Okay. Use the Let's Talk after the showcase. Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's 2 people ahead of you, just so you know. Okay, but thank you for that. Good Vibe says, I'm working on a short story about a country's prime minister getting a suit tailored for the upcoming election, and the tailor's son has different political opinions. Oh, is he going to deliberately sabotage it, or are they going to argue? Because that sounds like fun either way. Yeah. It was a makeup cost, or ignore it, or whatever. Oh, okay. Oh, thanks, Bob. Okay. That's cool. Right Idea says, I wouldn't have written it like that, but you could always just write it your way. Well, the problem is the challenge is use this sentence, right? So you would have to use that sentence, right? I suppose I could always do that in the draft and then change it in the final copy. Hey, Author Goddess, how are you? I've been thinking about you, and I've been missing your company. I hope you're doing well. How are things going? So use it now, edit it later. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I will. Because I do have something of an idea for that. Haha, okay. There we go. Ah. Actually, that's a fine idea. I think that'd make a good story right there. What do you guys think? Right Idea says it depends how strictly you want to stick to the challenge. I'm just using it as inspiration, not to try and win. I don't even know if there's a contest, right? And I'm not, that's not the goal, but I'm kind of using it like the framing of a haiku, right? Part of the challenge of a haiku is making your idea fit in the structure. So I'm trying to do that to some degree, but I can, like I said, I can always use the sentence and then change it later. You have a good point. Author Goddess says, I'm okay. Been a bit down with the tooth. Yeah, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Emily says, I've been doing boring house chores while listening to you. Still some clothes to hang, and then I go back to doing a translation of my short story. Nice. Did I say hi to Gwen? Hi, Gwen, if I didn't say hi. Oh, and hey, Moon, good to see you. Author Goddess says, also getting to the point where I want to move now. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, I can relate to that. Same thing going on here. I'm like, I just want this to be fucking done, Yeah. I'm starting to get to a point where I'm going to have to pack important things that I'm currently using into boxes and live out of those boxes, so that's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Moon says, I'm making a Lord of the Rings fanfic right now, and I still don't know why, speaking that I haven't completely finished the book. So what? So what? The world inspires you. You don't have to necessarily know all the details of the books. If you saw the movie, you know the plot. That is the end of the sprint. Ah, Bob's getting an adult beverage. Not a bad plan. I might do that on the break. Moon says, I've seen the movies 500,000 times, but the books have been too busy to read. Cannot read it. It's a bit of an older style now, so I can see how it may be difficult for some people to get into. It took me a few tries to get into it. Of course, I was much younger then, but I get it, The Right Idea says, The Well of Souls is the name of my fantasy series. It's probably why the idea stuck in my head. The idea sounds brilliant. Well of Souls is probably not an original thing. I'm sure I've seen a title of a book called that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't make your fantasy series that, by the way. Don't take that like that. But, yeah, right? But it's all about your own take on it, right? Speaking of which, how is the great move of the House of Sable going? The great move, okay, the packing is going well. The house hunting is going very badly. We might be able to get a place for October 1st, but that's a month late. Erin is going to talk to the landlords tomorrow to see if we can get one more month, right? Because for a lot of reasons, that and, we're moving 20 years of junk. It's taking a lot of work. We might be able to do it. If we can, great. If not, I guess I'll be a refugee in my mother-in-law's yard for a month. Real pain in the ass. I don't know what we're going to do with our stuff, but I suppose I can afford a month of storage, so it's not too bad. But I'm hopeful because, as I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, it looks like we might have an opportunity to buy, and that is something that I never thought I would be in a position to do. But there are a couple of places around that are, they're mobile homes, they're trailers, right? But they're good, decent trailers. They have more room than the place I'm living in now. And, they're available for somewhere between $115,000 to $150,000. And, looking at the mortgage payments and stuff on the listings and the down payment, we can afford it, right? We can. It's just a matter of, will the bank give us a mortgage? I think it'll give Steve a mortgage, and it might give Jamie a mortgage. My mom has offered to chip in my inheritance early in order to help, which I think I will take her up on because it won't hurt her or me to do that. So, yeah, so there's some real possibilities there. It's just a matter of getting it all lined up. And like I said, hoping the bank gives us a mortgage. But, I mean, we can muster probably about half the cost of such a house with equity, if need be. in terms like we can have that paid with the available, various things coming in between the four of us. So, cross your fingers for me, guys, because I would really, there's a lovely little place out on Maple Lake Road in Lumbee that I would love to own. It would be really nice. So, no, pretty sure I did, but hi again. Okay, that's cool, Gwen. Right Idea says, the prose you're about to read is unedited. I wrote it a couple days ago. I just want to know if you like it. Okay, so you don't want me to do my usual edit stuff? Unlurk, please go to Game of Tones RP, Sable Aradia. Awesome, because you put the picture in the chat. I will totally look at that in just a second. Moon says, I meant that I couldn't read your stuff on screen. Oh, okay. I love the Lord of the Rings book. I just don't have much reading time. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're broadcasting at. But anyway, my idea is, okay, the prompt is, an emotional loss leads your character on a journey of discovery, or use this sentence, as the wind whipped and whirled around them, they felt their feet slip from beneath them. My idea is, maybe I can incorporate both. Protagonist loses a loved one, goes on a quest to bring them back from the dead. Big spell is required. Things go awry, leading to the sentence below. Maybe there's a place called the Well of Souls that can bring back one person every year, and they're not the only one going on the quest. Only one of the supplicants can be successful. Protagonist almost wins, but makes a sacrifice in favor of someone else who needs the return of their beloved dead more. So that's my idea. Ooh, Modern Mobiles can be really nice. Yeah, the one I'm looking at is like 2009, I think it was built. It's beautiful. Alright, that's the get back to work growl for those of you who are sprinting. Bob says, if you can put 50% down, you'll get a mortgage. That's what we figure too. That's what we figure too. Yeah. If the bank don't give you a mortgage, I'll do a fight club, says the Right Idea, and blow them up. Just kidding, I don't want to get arrested. Yeah, of course, but I appreciate the sentiment. All right, we're going to do the showcase. We're going to look at the right ideas. Prose here. Written a couple days ago. Distant sky. The sky exists on my periphery. The same way blood rushes around my veins. The beating of my heart, echoing through me to become my pulse. Okay, so do you want grammar corrections? Okay, don't want the flow to be interrupted. Read it first, then go through. I will do that. Okay, I'll start again. The sky exists on my periphery, the same way blood rushes round my veins. The beating of my heart, echoing through me to become my pulse. My pulse is to me what the birds are to the sky. Where they exist, I know the sky does. When my pulse exists, I know that I love. The birds hang lazily in the air, the beating of their wings holding up the sky. Some would say the sky holds up the birds on tattered strings, a puppeteer of crows. But no, the birds keep the world afloat. They prevent it from collapsing in, a lifeboat. They are Atlas, the weight of the world on their hollow bones. So when I lie, supine, staring up at a multi-hued sky, I see those feathered minds and mutter, to my surprise, a thanks. My world falls apart, you see. Madness spews from my gaping maw, like acid rain battering on ancient shore. When I want to bend, to break, I picture myself falling from space, plummeting towards my death on a surfboard, whoops emanating from the lowest hole in my corpse-to-be's head. Oh, to be dead. Yet I pause, interrupt those thoughts, for I am staring from a window and I see that sky, alive with different colored lights. I realize it has been there the whole time, an ever-present blanket held aloft above my time as I fail to thrive. In my periphery, as I said before. Out of sight, out of mind, that barrier between thoughts and I, a diaphanous membrane which keeps out the chaotic vacuum of space, letting in only the occasional meteor or refuse from the great space race. So as I picture my head crashing, smashing, bashing into the asphalt, a halt. Perhaps the sky is to me what my skull is to my gray matter, a protector, a helmet. When I think of it as a cage, I neglect to consider its design. Am I inside the cage to protect the universe from or am I here, a refuge on a rock falling through space, to protect me from the horrors of a shallow, selfish human race? No, perhaps the sky isn't purposeless. Perhaps its complexities are designed to occupy the aching of my mind. For now, I'm distracted. I no longer wish to die. A thanks indeed to those feathered friends. If I had not seen them circling high in the atmosphere, if I had not had my one runaway train of thought inspired by their being, perhaps I would not be present to write this night. Perhaps I would have given up the fight, given in to strife. A thanks indeed to these birds in flight. Lovely, disturbing, moving, passionate. This is great. This is really good poetic writing, poetic prose. It's beautiful. And I see why you didn't want to interrupt the flow. Hey, Dragon Magpie, good to see you. I'm going to address the conversation stuff after, I think, because I want to give you my full attention here. The right idea? I love this, and I think that it needs a little bit of grammar tightening in order to be perfect. You want my help? Because I can do it. And I would really like to, because I want to help you with this, because this is gorgeous, and I would really like to see this in print somewhere. No, this is good. I can relate to this. I'm reminded of my teenage years. I was often very depressed in my teenage years, and meditating on the sky lifted my spirits more than once. How much outline do y'all usually do for a short story? Asked Dragon Magpie. I don't outline shit. So, not really. I kind of frame it in my head. And if I do, then my outlines tend to be really simple, like this thing I just wrote about the basic idea of a story. Right? About a paragraph. I don't tend to do a huge amount of outlining. I'm kind of the wrong person to talk to about outlining because I'm a plantser. I kind of, it's to a large extent, aside from key images, key scenes that I bring together when I write, I pretty much am a writer of discovery. You're having a really down day a couple days ago. I'm sorry to hear it. I'm glad that the birds helped you. Okay, let me polish your diamond here for you. The sky exists on my periphery, the same way blood rushes round my veins. The beating of my heart echoes through me to become my pulse. Because it's the wrong tense here if you're going to make it a separate sentence. Right? My pulse is to me what the birds are to the sky. When they exist, I know the sky does. When my pulse exists, I know that I love. The birds hang lazily in the air, the beating of their wings, holding up the sky. I would say hold up the sky. I think that's more powerful there. Although that could work there, but I think hold is better. Some would say the sky holds up the birds on tattered strings, a puppeteer of crows. But no, the birds keep the world afloat. They prevent it from collapsing in, a lifeboat. Did you mean for that comma to be there? Right? Because I'm reading it as you intend it to be paused there, and that works. That's good. Right? But I could also see it. I'm just double checking to make sure it's getting across the meaning you're intending. If you didn't have the comma there, it would read as they prevent it from collapsing in a lifeboat. I think it works the way it is, and I'm pretty sure that was your intention, but I'm just double checking. They are Atlas. You have an extra space before the comma. The weight of the world on their hollow bones. So when I lie supine, staring up at a multi-hued sky, comma, I see those feathered minds and mutter, no space before the comma. To my surprise, again remove the space, a thanks. Or the space before the comma there. Like here and here. Obviously, we're just kind of writing this like quickly off the top of your head. and you weren't thinking about grammar much when you were writing it, and that's totally cool. Nothing wrong with that. That's what drafts are. So, my world falls apart, you see. Madness spews from my gaping maw. Like acid rain, again, we got an extra space here, like acid rain battering an ancient shore. By the way, two things. First of all, one, I really love your poetic repetition. The beat, beat, beating of my heart. The beat, beat, beating of their wings. Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful language, right? I like the word supine. People don't use it often enough, and it clearly indicates a complete lassitude, which could either be defeat or relaxation. And I think that you could not have chosen a better word if you tried. It's perfect. This sentence is amazing too. Madness spews from my gaping maw like acid rain battering an ancient shore. Blah! Love it, love it, love it. Okay, when I want to bend, to break, I picture myself falling from space, plummeting towards my death on a surfboard. Again, you've got an extra space. Whoops emanating from the lowest hole in my corpse-to-be's head. Oh, to be dead. It's nice. It's disturbing, but it's nice. It's dark. Yet I pause, interrupt those thoughts, for I am staring from a window and I see that sky alive with different colored lights. I realize that it has been there the whole time. An ever-present blanket held aloft above my time as I failed to thrive. I think ever-present might need a hyphen. I'm not sure. In my periphery, as I said before, I don't think that you need, as I said before. Because here you said we're already aware that you are using poetic repetition. You've given us that sense, and you can use in my periphery again as another form of poetic repetition that doesn't take us out of the flow of the narrative. If you say, as I said before, it takes our brain back up here, right, and to the beginning again, and it feels like because there's a whole flowing consciousness of the way you've written this, and I feel, and this is poetry thing, right? I feel like you kind of went, let's start over, right? It's like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, and I think it hurts your narrative, right? I think it would flow more if you just said, in my periphery. So let me read this paragraph again with that alteration. Yet I pause, interrupt those thoughts. For I am staring from a window and I see that sky, alive with different colored lights. I realize it has been there the whole time. An ever-present blanket held aloft above my time as I failed to thrive. In my periphery. Out of sight, out of mind. You need a comma after sight. You need to take away that space there. That barrier between thoughts and I. Okay, the correct grammar there is me, as opposed to I, but I recognize you may be using I with a poetic intent. If that's what you're doing, leave it, right? If you just weren't sure, me is the correct grammar. A diaphanous membrane which keeps out the chaotic vacuum of space, again an extra space there, letting in only the occasional meteor or refuse from the great space race. Space race is capitalized. It's a specific event. So now, okay, I'll read that one more time without any of my edits. With them incorporated rather. Yet I pause, interrupt those thoughts. For I am staring from a window and I see that sky, alive with different colored lights. I realize it has been there the whole time. An ever-present blanket held aloft above my time as I fail to thrive. In my periphery, out of sight, out of mind, that barrier between thoughts and I. A diaphanous membrane which keeps out the chaotic vacuum of space, letting in only the occasional meteor or refuse from the great space race. I also really see, that's beautiful, and I also really like the metaphor between space and despair, right? You're clearly drawing that parallel. Space is a lot of vacuum. It's very empty. It's a powerful image, and seeing it as a threat is a cool thing, right? So as I picture my head crashing, smashing, bashing into the asphalt, leave that exactly the way it is. It's grammatically incorrect, but I recognize you're totally doing that for poetry, and it's beautiful. Again, an extra space here before the comma you need to get rid of it. So as I picture my head crashing, smashing, bashing into the asphalt, a halt. If you wanted to, by the way, to impress upon people that this is intended to be all together, crashing, smashing, bashing, you could put hyphens between them. You don't have to. It's not required. It was for poetic intent. Okay, for the I. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, you could. You don't have to. But if you did, the reader would know right away that that was your intent, and it might make it flow more smoothly. I was kind of stumbling over it a little bit when I got there, but then again, I'm always thinking about editing when I'm doing these, so that could entirely be why. It might have nothing to do with anything else, right? So don't. How do you guys feel about that in the chat? Maybe because you're not thinking about editing, you're just listening to something being read. Maybe it, didn't make you pause, and if it didn't, then leave it exactly the way it is. Perhaps the sky is to me what my skull is to my gray matter, a protector, a helmet. Right? When I think of it as a cage, again, an extra space, I neglect to consider its design. Am I inside the cage to protect the universe from I? There I would use me. Am I inside the cage to protect the universe from me? Or am I here? And I think you meant refugee, right? A refugee on a rock falling through space to protect me from the horrors of a shallow, selfish human race. And you need a comma after shallow. Yeah. That's the sprint, for those of you sprinting. No, perhaps the sky isn't purposeless. Perhaps its complexities, you have the wrong it's there. That's the possessive it's you want, and therefore it does not have an apostrophe, which I know makes no sense. But in English, it apostrophe s is already a contraction that represents it is, and therefore you need to just have its for the possessive it's. Perhaps its complexities are designed to occupy the aching of my mind. For now, you need a comma there. For now, comma, I'm distracted. Period, I think. You've got a comma there with the extra space, but I would put a period there. And because those are two separate ideas, and I think that they're good in completion. Right? For now, I'm distracted. I no longer wish to die. A thanks indeed to those feathered, and you've got fiends, so you need an R there, friends. If I had not seen them circling high in the atmos, was atmos intended? Right? You could, I would use the whole word atmosphere, or if you're looking for something poetic, I would use firmament. Firmament is often used, here, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but that's often used as a, metaphor for the sky, the starry firmament or whatever, right? You could use that instead for the poetic flow, right? Or I would use the whole word atmosphere, which maybe you were stumbling on the spelling while you were doing a draft, which is totally fair. So yeah, either one of those. I wouldn't leave it as atmos. Because atmos is like, huh, what? And it makes the brain think too much. And we're going in this, like I said, you've got this beautiful dreamlike flow happening. And it, anything that interrupts that, I think diminishes your piece. So one or the other. Okay. If I had not seen them circling high in the firmament, I'll read it like that and see if you like it. If I had not seen them circling high in the firmament, if I had not had my one runaway should be one word, train of thought inspired by their being. 3 dots is required there. The ellipses, the dash is not the right grammar. Perhaps I would not be present to write this night. Perhaps I would have given up the fight, given into strife. A thanks indeed to these birds in flight. This is very good writing. let's see. People who do good dreamlike writing. Harlan Ellison, although his writing is always dark, and this is not nearly as dark as the stuff that Harlan Ellison has written, but it's got that flow. Ursula Le Guin can be like this in places too, right? I love it, and yeah. I would, if you're looking to sell this, try literary magazines, right? And don't settle for things that pay less than 6 cents a word, right? Make sure you get some money out of this, because it's good. Yeah, I like it a lot. Good work, right? Yeah. I'll try a few ones and see which I prefer. That makes sense. Oh yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe writes a lot like this too. Yes, that's a very good comparison, Bob. Yeah. No, this is good. Now you'll, if you, I think this is the second time I've done a review for you, right? An edit showcase. And the first time I kind of tore your stuff apart a bit with the grammar and whatnot, or some of the yeah, right? But to help, that's the goal, right? I want to polish your diamond. So you may not know that, yeah, this is good, go sell this, is like high praise from me. It doesn't need much, it just needs a couple little touches. In and of itself, the structure is beautiful. I love your language. I find it relatable. It's beautiful. Is it okay enough to publish? Yes. Yes, you could, make these little changes that I've suggested if you like them, and go sell this. You know? And that's the get back to work growl. Yeah, good stuff. I'm going to use this sprint, and then when we're done with the sprint, I'm going to get into James's showcase. And since I've done that for the day, I'm going to go back to my edits. So this screen isn't going to change much over the next little bit. Yeah, I don't have the permission to do the edit on the Google Doc. I looked. Okay, there's lots of chat to catch up on, and I'm not ignoring it, but I'm going to get to it after the sprint. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a quick bio here. So keep sprinting. I'll be right back, gang. All right, I'm back. There's not a lot of this sprint left, it looks like. So I think what I'm going to do is catch up on the chat here. Moon says, my former built-in 2003-ish, 2-floor, 3-bedroom home was cheaper than one of those mobile homes, and this is surprising, despite the fact that my area is cheap as fuck to live in. And you know, I'm not putting house off the list. You know, I'm just, yeah, I mean, you might get lucky, right? But I like mobile homes too. Nothing wrong with that. Bob says, is there any equivalent to our Veterans Administration loans that Aaron would qualify for, assuming honorable medical discharge? You know, I didn't even think about that, but I'm sure there must be, and we can look into it. I know there's also a first-time homeowners grant, and there is a fund for adapting a house for disability that you can get, that we chose not to use when Aaron first came home from the hospital because we don't own this place, right? So we were saving it for a place we owned. So both of these things could be helpful, and good idea, Bob. We'll check into that too. Gwen agrees with me about the beat, beat, beat for both the heart and the bird's wings. Exactly. The metaphor there is obvious and beautiful, used through the poetic repetition. It's good writing. Moon says, when I try to plot, I normally either plot everything with just a few details left out in bullet point style, or I plan out where the characters need to start and end each chapter or scene, and that's it. Yeah, that's often very helpful for a short story, I would think. Yeah. Moon says, I'm a plantser right now, but I've tried to plot. I haven't figured out a good perfect method yet. Oh! Gwen has a point there. I thought the rock was the refuge. That's interesting. Okay, right idea. Gwen's point there. Do we still have your link up? Because I closed it down and now I want to look at it again. There it is. Haha. Okay. No, Gwen's got a point there. Okay. Okay, the way the sentence is phrased says that he's talking about it himself. That's the sprint, by the way. Or am I here, a refuge on a rock falling through space? If they were writing about the rock being the refuge, then they should say refuge of a rock, right? A refuge of a rock, right? Which also works. If you do that, their right idea, if that was your original intent, or if you like that intent, my suggestion would be to capitalize refuge and rock. And the reason why is because you would tell people that you are referring to a biblical verse that talks about how the rock is the refuge, right? It's a reference to Christ, right? So it has a religious significance, and you could do that and it would certainly work with what you're intending to do here. If you don't intend to do that, then yeah, the word is refugee that you're looking for. But Gwen has a really good point there that I did not even think about. I don't know which one to use personally. Well, okay, so my question to you is, are you a Christian? Right? Because if you are a Christian, then that means that you're writing personally about finding meaning, right? So that would be a little bit of yourself in it, which it's a very personal piece of writing, so I think it would work lovely, right? But if you're not a Christian, I wouldn't use it, because for me that would feel a bit insincere. I'm spiritual but not Christian. Well, if you're spiritual but your spirituality is not specifically defined in another way, or you're not an atheist, then you could still use it and it would still be sincere. Okay, James, we'll see you in a bit. We'll do your showcase last. And that's totally fine. Yeah, it totally does work, actually, Gwen. You're totally right. Yeah. Yeah, Bob pointed out, all of a sudden Atmos brings up a Doctor Who episode. You don't want that. Yeah, no. No, you don't. You don't want to take people out of the narrative. And James, you're not a pain at all. Right idea, I know. It is so scary putting your work out there, isn't it? You know, I sometimes don't even like doing it. You'd think I'd be confident enough to do it by now and not worry about it, right? But I still get nervous too. But the thing is, this is a good space to do it because you know for a fact everybody here is invested in your success, right? We're all here to help each other. There's no hostile audience here. Right, and if somebody is a hostile audience, I'm going to give them the boot because that's not what we're here to accomplish, right? It's not going to help anybody to be negative. Positivity is, what's needed and important here. So, and yeah, you really don't, you have nothing to worry about there. It's good work. Aw. Dragon says, I have to come up with a new short story concept. I misread the prompt the first time. That sucks. Bob is also encouraging right idea. That's great. March of the Grey Eyes says, speaking of houses, my family is moving out of this home because we are being forced to, as the original owner of the house that we paid to do our rent is selling the house, meaning we have to leave by September 10th. Well, that fucking sucks, and being in a similar situation myself, I have absolute sympathy for your pain. Oh, hello, Order 11. Good to see you. Yeah, I met you in Darth's stream last night. Just finished watching the game. How's the stream been? It's so far so good. What game are we talking about? Right idea says, I just want to say thank you for your review and help. It means a lot, especially the compliments. Sometimes a little encouragement does go a long way, and I wouldn't tell you anything that I didn't think was true. Right? So you know for a fact that if it comes from me, I mean it. Confidence is a bad side of what you're doing is garbage. Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong there. 11, I can't disagree with you. I've been published quite a few times now, and I should I should have some confidence in my work because clearly it's saleable. It's provable that it is. Clearly people like it. Right? I have some objective proof of that, but everyone always wonders and lacks confidence and questions, and I think you're right. If you're totally confident, you're right. There's probably something wrong with it. You're totally accurate. Yep. I watched my Colts play the Panthers in preseason. We got the dub, so I'm happy. Awesome. Gwen says, when I first started querying, I got excited by the idea of being published. Then I thought, but that means people will read my work. Right idea says, literally my thought process. Yeah, it's the problem. You want to make a living at this stuff? You gotta publish, right? Yeah. But I mean, maybe you don't want to make a living at it, and that's okay too. Nobody says you have to. Writing is valuable for its own sake. Okay, I'm going to actually go back to sprinting. Like I said, you're not going to see this screen change much. Alright, so I'm going to copy this into the other document. There we go, because I've changed some details about the uniforms, and also I've already described Captain Madrimlian elsewhere in the book. It's just that for some reason I forgot that I had. I don't know what I was doing there. Yeah, I thought that was another scene. Okay. And that's the sprint. All right, moving into the chat. Order 11 says, everyone is their own worst critic, and if you aren't critical of what you're doing, you obviously don't care, and he's got a good point there. March of the Grey Eyes says, but hey, moving out now is kind of a good thing, as it can be taken in a positive side. That positive side being there means I will get my tiny home quicker. And I really want my tiny home. By tiny home, I mean my own independent tiny home separate from the main household in the big plot of land that we will build our houses in. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm taking this as a, I mean, there's the sudden move is difficult and, inconvenient and traumatic, but ultimately there's good things on the end of it. Either we'll get into a better living situation, or maybe we'll actually own something, and that would be nice. Oh, yay! Yay, happy, yay is following. Yay, yay. That's great. What a cool handle. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, we do writing streams on Sundays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. They're all at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. in the UK, and let's see, 5 o'clock in the morning Australian Eastern Time, except for the one on Saturday, which is done by my hubby. That starts at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, 10 p.m. in the UK, 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, as do his other two streams, which are Ask an Old GM. They are on Tuesdays and Fridays. Sunday nights, we play Pathfinder First Edition campaign in the universe of the Toysoldier saga and that book that you see advertised, A Few Good Elves. And that starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. What is that? That's 1 o'clock in the morning UTC, 2 a.m. in the UK, and 6 and another 5 hours, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. And Mondays are day off. So yeah. And hopefully something in there is of interest to you. The Red Idea says, I've just realized recently that I need to write the types of writing I suck at so I can get better at them. Hence why I'm doing a short story collection where I'll be trying to challenge myself to different types of pieces, perspectives, and more. Really enjoying it so far. It makes perfect sense to me, and that's one of the reasons why I agreed to do the short story challenge. Red Idea says, back to writing the short story. My MC is about to go on a massive trip, and this will be a challenge. Awesome. Oh, please refresh before I read, because, and the showcase, because Bob fixed an error. Will do. And that is what we're doing next, so that works out. All right, Author Goddess has been adulting again. Budget updated, supper ready to pull the trigger on, gone through another batch of apartments to look at. Awesome. Oh, neat. Gwen says, oh my, just checked my emails and someone sent me info on rentals 10 minutes ago. Cool. Dragon Magpie says, wow, thank you all for all the submissions for the unofficial food flash challenge. Yay. Question, when is that done, by the way? When is my deadline for submission? Because I'm thinking about doing it, but I'm a little overwhelmed right now. I typically do recipes for my worlds, and I got lots to contribute, so... But I'm just so overwhelmed right now. A little creepy considering the discussion on topic in chat. Elizabeth. X-Files music intensifies. Yeah. It's over. Ended this morning. Damn it. Oh well. Too bad. That's okay. Yeah, Google eavesdropping on you again. Fuckers. I really hate that. I really, really hate that. None of your goddamn business what I'm doing. Alright, let's do Bob's showcase here because the dragon's about to growl. Yeah, I'm not looking for rentals. I'm thinking about doing one sometime, says a Dragon Magpie. I'm enjoying judging. That's awesome. Alright. This is Bob's article, The Promise of Our Future, for Carterion, his universe. There you go. The Promise of Our Future. Every 5 years or so, 5 years and 84 days to be exact, a series of competitions is held in and around the city of Fay Point in the Grand Duchy of Elven Pass. These games offer the youth of the world, those not yet old enough to be considered adults by their societies, to demonstrate the skills and talents that they were born with, or which they acquired through training and practice as they learned and grew and prepared to take their places in adult society. I put a comma after grew. We need a breath in there somewhere, and that's a logical place to put it. According to the advertising, these games celebrate the promise of our future, and so have come to be called the Promise of the Future games, or just the Promise games for short. That's cool. Eligibility. All youths from anywhere in the world that are within the recognized ages of adolescence, see table below, for their particular ancestry are eligible. To enter guild competitions, one must be sponsored by a guild member. For citizens of the Grand Duchy, this is not usually a problem, or usually not a problem. For citizens of the First Kingdom, the Grand Duchy of Eastgard, sponsorships from their guilds are honored. Youth from other countries must apply to the appropriate guild in Elven Pass for temporary sponsorship. This request is almost always granted if work of a sufficient caliber is offered as proof of skill. Alright. So for ages, Aquana have to be, well, I'm not going to read the table out. How's that? different ages for different people due to different lifespans, I would imagine. Contestants must pay their own way to and from the city of Faypoint, but once there, if their qualifications are accepted, they are entered into the games at no further cost to themselves. See the logistics section in the sidebar. Sorry about that yawn. It's not tiredness or boredom, it's lack of oxygen. It is not uncommon for wealthy, you need a Y there, local patrons, or even whole villages or towns to pool resources to send their youth to compete. Awesome. I will read the logistics section next, I think that makes sense. All competitors are given free lodging and meals, lodging, meals, accommodations. Oh, okay. All competitors are given free lodging and meals accommodations in or near the city of Faypoint for the games. The various guilds provide accommodations for contestants and their sponsored events within the city itself. The Archduke handles costs of accommodating competitors at the personal skills games in a lavish tent city erected just outside the city, near the venues of the games themselves. I'll point out that you have a bracket at the beginning, but you have no closing bracket. Your bracket here is starting at the various guilds provide accommodations for contestants. Right, so I might just delete that bracket, but, delete it or close it. Timing of the games. The Future Greats Games, you've changed the title, I see. Because Promise of the Future Games, right? Are held to coincide with the occurrence of the double lunar eclipse called the Necromancer's Eye, which occurs blank. You haven't made that up yet. The games themselves are held during the 3-week period that predates the eclipse itself. The closing ceremonial banquet, at which all winners are honored, is held on the night of the eclipse at the Grand Duke's Palace in the city of Faypoint. This is in keeping with the human tradition of thwarting the necromancer whenever the dreaded celestial event occurs. Okay. And basically, it's superstitious fear of the eclipse. Okay. Athletics and personal skills competitions. There are 6 categories of competitions which test the physical abilities and personal training achievements of the various contestants. Winners in these competitions can expect to be courted by nobility looking for instructors for their children or men-at-arms. Did you mean to capitalize nobility? Is it a class in your world, perhaps? A character class? Gladiatorial stables looking for exciting spectacles. Elite mercenary groups. Again, is that a class? Otherwise, you probably shouldn't capitalize. Looking for specially skilled individuals, and even adventuring companies, again, probably shouldn't be capitalized unless that's like a specific thing people can look for in your world. Looking for skills to complement their here I would put look. Gladiatorial stables looking for exciting spectacles, elite mercenary groups looking for specially skilled individuals, and even adventuring companies and even adventuring companies looking for skills to complement their existing abilities. What? Right, because when you say it like that, this is all modifiers of an existing action. Otherwise, it's a phrase. In which case, I might either say something like, at the end of all that, say, to complement their existing abilities, frequent the games, scouting for talent, something like that, or you could change it to gladiatorial stables look for exciting spectacles, elite mercenary groups look for specially skilled individuals, and even adventuring companies look for skills to complement their existing abilities, which implies by nature that they're scouting for talent, right? So, yeah, one or the other. Okay, not a character class will lose will lose the capitalization. Okay. Hail Hydrate, thank you. Hail Hydrate. Okay, have fun judging, Dragon Magpie. I just opened your Google Assistant. That's hilarious, Masades. Yep, The article is well written. Good job, Bob. Bob's articles are always well written, very professional. Yep. Author Goddess says, I did the food challenge. I raced Kahuna in writing it. Excellent. Good for you. Okay. Good job there, AG. Okay, now I'll continue. Archery. There are 4 areas of competition in each of the 3 disciplines: longbow, shortbow, and crossbow. The competitions in each are still target shooting, moving target shooting, distance shooting, and an overall competition which combines scores from all 3 of the others. That's cool. You need a colon after R. The competitions in each are colon. Armed combat. There are 2 disciplines, finesse fighting and overpower fighting. I would just call it power fighting or strength fighting or overpower, because otherwise you have to say overpowering fighting, and that's not really the context that you're looking for, I think. Specific competitions in each lay out the nature of the weapons and shields, if any. Special weapons and magical protections limit most real damage in these competitions, though this is by far the most hazardous set of competitions in this set. I would say set of competitions in the games, because you don't want to repeat set. Yeah, that makes sense. Magical protections can help, but yeah. There's always a risk for injury when you're play fighting, especially with weapons. Horsemanship. There are 2 disciplines here, one where the competitors perform with horses they have trained, and one where the competitors are randomly assigned horses they have not yet worked with. In the first discipline, there are 5 areas of competition: jumping, handling, flat course racing, obstacle racing, and an overall combined competition. In the second discipline, only flat course and obstacle racing are contested, as well as an overall that combines scores from the 2. Interesting. Makes a lot of sense. I like the fact that you've given some importance to the necessity of being good with horses in a world that relies on horses for transportation. Foot racing. There are a number of individual races. Some are short distance sprints, while others are long distance endurance tests. Makes sense? Unarmed combat. There are 2 disciplines. Wow, that's loud. I don't know if you hear Aaron hacking his lungs out in the background. There are 2 disciplines, grappling and throwing, and freestyle, in which striking with fists is permitted. Different weight classes are devised for each discipline to determine winners in each weight class. Swimming and diving. 2 competition areas are contested here. The first is a number of swimming races which, like the foot racing events, offer both short sprint and longer endurance individual races. The second is a deep diving competition in which contestants must attempt to retrieve objects anchored at varying depths, with the deepest items scoring the highest. That's cool. Artisanal skills. There are competitions sponsored by each of the 6 artisanal guilds of Elven Pass. I would say artisans guilds of Elven Pass myself. Each guild offers competitions in which contestants must demonstrate skills they have learned in apprenticeships with guild journeymen and masters. Contestants must be proposed by a guild member, though there are provisions for contestants from countries other than the Grand Duchy to qualify if trained by a craftsperson beyond the reach of the guild. Self-taught entrants are very rare, but they too can be qualified. Winners in these competitions can expect a promising future in their craft. From the set of winners in each guild's competitions, the Grand Master will select one to become their Journey Apprentice, a 5-year position during which they will learn the secrets of the Grand Master and will be conferred Master status upon completion of the term. Other winners are granted Journey Folk status immediately and are often courted for private positions with nobles, mercenary companies, city organizers, and others. Even some non-winners are approached by noted masters with opportunities to finish out their apprenticeship, learning that master's techniques. I'm going to see if I missed anything in the meantime. Yes, games. Okay, cool. Welcome back, James. Culinarians. Competitions for preparing meat dishes, non-meat dishes, pastries, and cakes are held, as well as an overall competition. Consistency in formatting. In the other places where you used the overall competition, you did not put it in quotation marks and you capitalized overall. I would suggest you do that here as well. As well as an overall competition requiring the planning and preparation of a complete banquet. Winners can expect to be offered positions in the kitchens of high nobility or be approached by patrons operating fine dining establishments in cities across the world. Lore keepers. Competitions are held in 6 disciplines: penmanship, secretarial dictation, literary writing, performance writing, graphic art, and music. Winners of the first 2 can expect envious senior positions in noble courts, universities, or larger cities. Winners in the latter 3 can expect to be courted by potential patrons of the arts. Stonesmiths. You have extra T in competitions there. Competitions include stone cutting, in which each contestant must... I would put a comma after stone cutting. Competitions include stone cutting, in which each contestant must craft 4 differently shaped blocks that fit together perfectly in a pattern they are provided. I would rephrase. Stone cutting, or competitions include stone cutting, in which each contestant must craft 4 differently shaped blocks they are provided to fit perfectly together in a pattern. Oh no, it's the pattern they're provided? Okay, never mind. Leave it as it is. Bricklaying, in which speed, uniformity, and strength of product are judged. And free sculpture, in which the competitor is free to craft a work of art of their choosing. Enviable patronage positions for the latter, and respected positions with nobles and city planners for the former 2 can be expected for the winners. I would put a comma after 2, just to group the ideas together where they need to go. Clothesmiths. Competition in tapestry creation, lacework, tailoring, and ball gown creation are held. Patrons will vie with each other to secure the exclusive services of the winners of these competitions. You need an of there. Metalsmiths. Competitions are held for bladesmiths, armorsmiths, farriers, and filigree gold and silversmiths. While examples of fine work are required to gain entry to these competitions, it is products made from scratch by the contestants during the competition that determine the outcome. Winners can expect numerous offers of employment from the affluent. Woodsmiths. Cabinetry, coopering, and free carving competitions are held by this guild. If you guys don't know, by the way, coopering is making barrels. It's a very specific craft, actually, in earlier times. Winning coopers may be courted by the wealthier merchant companies or nobility to ensure sound storage and transport of mercantile products. Winners of the other competitions can expect good patronage offers. Nice, Bob! Really good idea. And that's the end of the sprint. Talk about excellent timing. No, that's really good. Good work. Well thought out. You know what? I'll put this in here. I am personally reminded of the traditional Lunasa games of the Celts. Sounds like a very big deal in your world too, and I can see numerous jumping off points for adventures. Yeah, I see, like, the journey getting there could be a thing. A very talented young artisan looking for patronage could be a thing. Maybe there's somebody cheating. That could be a thing. You know? Mysteries. Like, there's all kinds of possibilities with that. It's good work. Oh, Tremble in Fear, the Dazzle Cat is here. Hello, Daz. It's a way for poor kids anywhere to make it. Yeah, that's great, Bob. I like it a lot. Aaron has a point, and I wondered if that was true. He says crafting filigree is called whitesmithing. So yeah, maybe just a whitesmithing competition, but I don't know. Yeah, it does cover gold too, doesn't it? James would know. James, you did a whole research article on this. Is that correct? Is Aaron right? Dad said D&D session just ended and cleanup is done too. Awesome. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, another adventure idea. Right idea says someone offering an artisan a position, but actually a shady person. Yep. Bob says an adventuring group could be hired to bring an obnoxious snot kid to the games. Yes. That could always be fun. Especially one that doesn't really want to go. That could always be good. Whitesmith is tin, I thought. James would know. James says whitesmithing is tin, pewter, and lead using the metal coloring system. Would you like my book article? His book article is very thorough. If you'd like to take a look at it, I recommend it. A lot of research in one place. Daz says, I have finished the backstory. Excellent! Including the early morning edition of yet another pick, the working uniform. Awesome! Well, let's look it up, shall we? Whitesmithing. What is whitesmithing? Finishing work on iron and steel such as filing or polishing, sometimes used for a tinsmith. Yeah, so it's not really the right term, actually, dear. Oh, I forgot about the sharpening stage. That was good, Bob. I liked it a lot. That's great. Good luck in the competition. I hope you win. That's really good. We're going to do James's as the next showcase, but that'll be after the next sprint. We're making good time today. It's only just after 2. I feel like we're getting a lot done. That's really good. Bob says, my need is jewelry making, but I wanted to focus on the gold and silver work. Yeah, makes sense. Dad says, unless Aaron sneaks in more uniform requirements, I think all the picks are blazed. Gem cutting should be added to stonesmiths. Ah, makes sense. Thank you, James, for posting your article. Go check that out if you're wondering what the terminology is. He did some excellent research. Ooh, neat, right idea. They said that to Aaron, but I also find that cool. There's a series on a channel called How to Make Everything on YouTube, where the guy goes back to the Stone Age and works his way to modern times, making things like stone tools. Think you'd enjoy it. I sure would too. Yeah, and that was a World Ember article from James. I remember it. It was excellent. Okay, we're back to another sprint. I'm gonna put up my work here and work through the sprint. Why is that different? 12. Okay. Oh, hey, I stopped for a minute to check questions here. Okay, I'll get into most of this in the chat break, but I have something for Moon here. Here's some of the information you're looking for, Moon. Other things are pretty nautical. Nautical tattoos might include things like a compass or a celestial compass over your heart or on your arm so that you never get lost, right? Like anchors on your arms are a thing, right? Either your forearms or your upper arms, right? And that symbolizes, coming back to harbor, right? It's not uncommon to get the words hold fast tattooed on your knuckles, especially if you're like, an enlisted and you handle the ropes a lot, because, it's an admonition to courage, basically. Right? The ears are, as you pointed out, the ears are typically pierced and usually contain a gold ring each. And the idea is to pay for your funeral, so should you be killed, right? So, and there's some other stuff in that article as well that might interest you. So, gang, I'm wondering if I should include something here or not. The gnome laughed, but his laughter had a savage sound to it that Shandar knew all too well. Well, if it isn't the Avalonian Navy come to pay us a visit. Welcome, little toy soldiers. Uh-oh, Shandar thought. Trouble already. Toy soldier was derogatory slang for an elven marine. Yathar's eyes narrowed. I'm wondering whether or not I should include this phrase. Toy soldier was derogatory slang for an elven marine. And the reason why is because back a few chapters ago, let me see if I can find it. Is this the chapter where they get their... No, okay. There's a chapter where they get fitted for their uniforms and sit for a portrait. Oh, it might have been the next scene there. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Where I said this. Yathar seemed amused by the dress uniform of the Marines. It was red and white and navy blue and decorated with piping and brass buttons. I guess I see why the humans and the gnomes call us toy soldiers, he said with a grin. Right, so I've already mentioned that it's a slang term, but I'm not sure if I've effectively communicated how derogatory it is there, and if the reference is obscure enough that people would not have noticed it, right? If they wouldn't have noticed it, then it's important to keep it here. If the readers would have noticed it, then I don't need it and it's just redundant and probably irritatingly so. So which way should I go, guys? How many chapters back? Like 6. And that's the sprint. Okay, good night there, Right Idea. Thanks for joining us. Daz says, I think instead of saying it's a derogatory term, why don't you just keep showing the irritation of those being called toy soldier? Yeah, that's what I wondered if I should do. So that's what you're saying I should do? I don't need to explain it there? It's too much info? Without the reminder of the meaning? Roughly how many pages is a chapter? I have no idea, James, but I know that they run between 3,000 and 5,000 words apiece. I would only explain it in an article, but not the story. Okay, thank you guys. That's enough for me. That sounds like... and Bob says, add a sentence after the first instance conveying hatred for the connotation. I could do that too. Maybe I should. Yeah, I'll go back there. What was that? Chapter 19, I think it was. Yeah, chapter 19. Okay, so 5 chapters back. It'll stick in readers' minds because it references the series title. Yep. Yep, good point. How's that? I guess I see why the humans and the gnomes call us toy soldiers, he said with a grin. Shandar chuckled, knowing how much the term usually irritated any right-thinking Marine. Perfect. Okay. Thanks, guys. That's helpful. Awesome. Back to work. I'll go back here. There we go. And we'll do the same in my story here. In the Word document, we'll go back to chapter 19. Okay, perfect. Good stuff. Excuse me. Oh, and I'm going to change this while I remember. Toyolate scowled. Because I didn't define who the she was there yet. Alright. Now let's get caught up on some... Oh no, I gotta... got another sprint. Okay, I'm gonna catch up on some chat quickly, and then we're gonna do James's showcase. So this is what we're gonna be working on. James said that that article about the different types of smithing was the first showcase I did for him, and I scared him a little. I'm sorry I scared you. Daz says, also, my group made their way through the haunted jungle, finally reaching Saltmarsh, and we're all giddy shopping. They were almost out of ammo, and one thrown weapon was lost. D&D is fun. Go play some role-playing games. They're lots of fun, and they're good story fuel. Daz says, one almost got dissolved in a giant Venus flytrap type plant, while another nearly died from the vines protecting the trapping flower part. Awesome. And you're welcome, Bob. Always happy to help out. Yeah, this is where Moonflower asked about for the Toysoldier saga what goes on for those elves who have piercings and or tattoos from before joining the Marines. Aiden Moonflower almost definitely either has old ear piercings or currently pierced ears. Yep. Daz says, they now really hate monkeys. One got hit with 2 monkey-tossed pieces of firewood and monkey poo. Another got his something by a monkey-tossed copper pot. Yet another won the tug-of-war over someone's unmentionables. I remember you talking about this. Daz says, oh, and a 4th got hit with an apple. The monkeys had the best aims of all the monsters in today's session. That's hilarious. You've been preparing that for a while. That's great. Moon says, come to think of it, I should ask the question later and not now, but I'm working on something else right now. Well, I'm sorry, I gave you an answer anyway. Daz says, this is the jungle, a really bad roll, had a staff attack, hit a rubber tree, and bounced back into the wizard swinging it, and did damage to themselves. That's hilarious. My backstory has 6 mini tales listed under the 3 different planets that led to her getting on board the Void Chaser. Awesome, I'll check it. All that's left is the editing of it and maybe some lore corrections for the last story. That's great. Red Idea says, I might get hold fast, tatted. That's great. Yeah, Daz says, and every time I get the insult, they show irritation in some way. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely, that's going to be an ongoing thing, right? Of course, eventually in the story, spoilers, Shandar joins the Marines as opposed to the Navy branch, and he didn't like it either. So, that'd do. I'd go stronger, but that'd do. Well, it's a lighthearted moment there, Bob. They're like excited about joining the Navy and they're off to war and they're getting new uniforms and they just got a promotion and, they're kind of celebrating, right? So I don't want to hang too heavy on anything in that point. Maybe more intense at the moment. Okay. Okay. I can look at that. There we go. This even works with the moment. I'll go back to that and I'll show you. Uh-oh, Shandar thought. Trouble already. Yathar's eyes narrowed. Tyelate cast the gnome. A withering glare. There. That's a little stronger, I think, eh? In the current chapter, just have somebody wince at the slur and move on. That could work too. Okay, I'll look at that. Okay, actually that's easily enough done. I'll do this. I'm going to do this so I can put it in there. So that I don't have to reformat it once I've put it in the document. There we go. There. How about that? Order 11 says, I'm having troubles naming species. I can only imagine how hard it's going to be naming characters. Oh yeah. It can be a challenge. Hello, Siobhan. Siobhan points out monkeys have great aim. Daz says they started out trying to be gentle. In the end, they killed one with a crossbow. Moon switched to this, so don't worry about it. Okay, that's cool. Also, it's fucking annoying how I keep trying to link to Sable's articles without realizing that I can't do that. Oh, you know what you can do though, right? Is that you can put the article block in your articles if you think that would be useful, or you can use the URL and go URL in square brackets in front of the place you want it linked and then /URL after. But I keep doing that too with other articles. Yeah. Bob says, agrees, sounds good. Withering glare is better than wince. Well, I think all three of them reacting like that gives a definite context. So that works for me. Moon says, also, it's so damn hard to make characters without character articles. Yeah. Yeah, unless you want the reaction to build each time, save Withering Glare for the next instance. No, it's always bad. And this is about to break into a fight, so it's really appropriate for her to give him a Withering Glare. Because they're about to mix it up, right? So it's perfect, Bob. It's fine. Things are going to get violent. Daz says, my working uniform pick is armed with hammer and a scrub brush and an unhappy face. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that stuff. Moon says, I don't have anywhere I can put the article at the moment, so I'm just working with a character sheet. Oh, well, do you want, like, writing access to the Toysoldier saga? I could do that. Right? And, you know, or once you guys were done creating the articles, you know, yeah. I need to work on Dino Bobasauro Bob. Yes, you do. That would be very helpful, but I was mainly just complaining. Well, I could do that for you guys. I'll do that. Or I'll give you player access, and then that way you can do that. Okay, you know what, guys? Hit me up after the stream, and we'll talk about how we're going to handle this, because we could put it in the world. I'd love that, and, you know, I'll try to figure out the easiest way to do that. So yeah, hit me up in the chat crew chat on the Discord there. And if we need to, we can always go to voice chat. I don't think I have to go anywhere today. Oh wait, no, I better check. I think Jamie might work, so I'll have to check. In which case, we'll have to wait till after I get back from dropping him off at work, so about 5 my time, which would be a little over 2 hours from now. Yeah, no worries. Happy to help. And thank you for doing this, actually. I'm very excited about, you know, the additional content is great. If you're going to write fan fiction for this anyway, Moon, I probably should just give you writer access anyway, because it's just easier. So, no worries at all. I don't think it even counts against me, because, well, it might. Whatever. I don't care. I can always bug Dimitri for more access. Okay, we're going to do James's showcase. He's been waiting patiently. So here's his article. Portuguese Carib ethnicity. Oh, okay, this is the ethnicity known for its cultural exports. Got it. Okay, I'm going to be writing fanfic, so that would be helpful. Yeah, well, it just makes sense to give you the writer access then, wouldn't it? So we'll just do that, no problem. Okay, Portuguese Carib from James's Future Scene World. Portuguese Carib is a subspecies that comes from Portugal. It is an important import to the UK because of the chocolate wars. I remember that article from a few days ago. Cool that you have included the pictures of Carib, so we know what we're talking about. Carib is a healthier alternative to chocolate that looks like brown or black chili peppers and is grown from trees. From plant to powder. The pods and beans are dried and ground. The powder looks similar to cocoa powder. It is then put into canisters for storage. The canisters themselves are then packed into crates to be transported to other places. Chocolate bars derived from Carib are not available to the British. You don't need the comma there after available, as it requires 2 types of butter. One of these kinds of butter comes from the cocoa beans, so when something tastes of chocolate, it is because of the Carib powder added, not of actual chocolate. Comma after the added. History. The British obtained Carib from the Portuguese rather than obtaining cocoa pods or beans from the Nigerians. This is because of British issues involving pirates in addition to the high cost of transportation. This led to the chocolate wars in the between years as British needed to protect their merchant ships. It got to the point in which the chocolate wars started. I don't think you need that at all. I think I would just put afterwards, comma, instead of going back to protecting their merchant ships, comma, the British went into trade negotiations with the Portuguese instead. Cultural significance. As the Carib was cheaper than the cocoa pods that came from Nigeria, the British kept the trade with the Portuguese, which had a positive effect on both parties. For the Portuguese, it meant a rise in trade and demand for the commodity. For the British, it was cheaper to transport goods from Portugal rather than Nigeria. Since there was no perceivable change from cocoa-derived chocolate from the Carib-derived chocolate, the cost of advertising and other media to persuade the general public of the change was saved. I put the comma after was saved, rather than before, as the public didn't need to be persuaded. The savings of funds also meant that the British could replace the ships that were lost in the chocolate wars. Cool! I like what Emily said. Nice article. Poor British people, you don't even have chocolate anymore. I don't believe in this fake chocolate. I'm emigrating back to France. Nice. It's hilarious. I like it. Nice, simple, straightforward article. Makes a lot of sense. Cool. Okay. Yeah, hug back, James. All right, I'm going to make the use of the rest of this sprint, and then there'll be one more sprint before we call this quits for the day. I've been muted this whole time? Oh, wow. Okay. No, James, that is so cool. I was just like gushing over how awesome this is. I agree completely with what Moon said in the chat, crying at all the wonderfulness. James, you're amazing, and I love how much you've latched onto this. That is just the coolest thing. It's just so neat. And put this picture up again because this is so cool. Yay! I should like reduce the zoom here so you can see the whole picture. That's so cool. I want one. I might ask for one for my birthday coming up. That would be great. My birthday's not coming up till March. It's a while away, but I love it. I love it. It's so neat. Okay. Yeah, that is amazing. Okay, and we're going to look at Daz's finished chat crew article. I don't know if we're going to read it all. We don't have time, but we're going to look. Growly. Growly. Back to work. This will be the last sprint of the day. Maybe I won't sprint. Maybe I'll just look at the article. Because it's neat. Oh, I love the way you've presented your table of contents. It looks great. Now, looking at all the pictures. Scrub this, fix that in my work uniform. Ugh! My dad. So awesome. Oh, that's so amazing. I love it so much. You guys make me so happy. It's just the height of a compliment, I think. When a writer creates a world and then, or an idea, and then people run away with it. And they do fan art and cakes and characters and fan fiction. Like, you can't get a higher compliment than that, guys. So thank you so much for all of that. I have no words for how loved this makes me feel. This is so good. Oh wow, there's so much. I can't, okay, no, I'm not gonna have time to read this. But not out loud anyway. We'll do it maybe next stream, because that is really, really cool. We'll definitely post them in the chat tonight, guys. That is awesome. I can't wait to read the whole story here. That is so great. I gotta figure out a way to get this on my site. Well, yeah, we'll talk about the best way to do that. I don't know how the player permissions work anymore, so... Now I need to poach him from you, Sable? I don't think that's ever gonna happen. And I'm really honored by that. Oh, Moonflower says, what color is the necktie supposed to be on the work uniform? The thingy thing didn't copyright and it's colorless right now. It depends on your rank, right? Let me pull up the Marine Corps article here. I should have the link down here. It'd probably be easier than searching it. There it is. Okay, Marine Corps article. Now, you're a private, as I recall, right? So the necktie is sort of a grayish white. Yeah, white. It's just a slightly different white from the rest of the... Because I wanted to show differences in cloth, right? The vest is often not as good a quality as the coat. And you kind of need sturdy pants, you know? So it's got to be pretty good quality. Yeah. The last story might have lore issues. Minor points is all. Okay, I'll go over it. Thanks, Daz. James is like, you can't have me. That's slavery. Lappin and the bats don't get along. Yeah, not traditionally. You can just click onto the voice chaser. Okay, or void chaser. Did I close the article? I don't think I did. Onto the void chaser. Okay, I will look at that. There we go. 2 years later, the fairy princess arrived at Alara. Or Alasia, actually. You're confusing two, and I don't blame you. They're very similar, and they're on the same planet. Alasia is the elf place. Alara is the Illyri place. It was her first ever run to Alasia since she joined the crew, and she was eager to see just how ripe for plundering the elves of Alasia were. Her rogue friends, made from her frequent stopovers in Cimmerian, all swore the Alasian elves never locked their doors because they trusted in magic. The old gnome, Ivan Torchbrew, and his killer lady gnome, Thorve Vinter, had retired to Cimmerian after their last great heist. An old round ear named John Short, who was nowhere near short, awesome, like Little John, often joined in reminiscing over their exploits. They all spoke of how they wished they were young again, as Alasia would be the perfect place to reap in the riches. To a master thief, magic could be got around with a bit of preparation. Yep. Daz had her glass of detect magic and her interesting protection from most scry magics. She was ready for Alasia. The gnomes had taught her that a world ripe for thieving was a thief's oyster, always coughing up pearls. Alasia would be her oyster. Things started out well enough, as she picked pockets and nabbed exposed trinkets, taking great care to never be seen, and quick to pluck out the gems and melt things down. Anything magical she was even quicker to discard as soon as her trusted glass revealed it. This was still child's play, but she needed to get a feel for the city. Finally, there came a day when she decided to try for a real heist. It took a while, but she finally found a house without its wards in place. Even better, no one was even home. She filled a sack with fancy things and was about to leave when a voice spoke to her. "The master will be very displeased if you take that." Whirling around, Daz saw a mouth fade away from the helmet of a decorative suit of armor, and then the armor stepped away from the wall towards her. Nice! She upended the sack and ran out the door, trinkets and treasures dumping out in a trail that reached halfway to the street. Not daring to drop the sack itself, she crumpled it up and tucked it into her belt. The clanking of the armor chasing after her stopped at the edge of the property, and another mouth appeared on the helmet. "Stop, thief!" it yelled over and over 5 times, drawing the attention of nearby watchmen. Daz took off running. She kept to the alleyways and every bit of hiding she could find until she neared a popular tavern. The sun was rising now, and she was getting desperate. A very drunk Marine staggered out the back door. Seeing her chance, Daz knocked out the man and stripped him of his uniform. Well, the elf, right? Getting dressed in the uniform, Daz made her way to the docks where she kept her emergency stash. It would be a great place to hide until... "Get in line, Marine!" a commanding voice yelled from behind Daz. Whirling around, Daz found herself facing a tough-looking sergeant and 2 dozen other Marines, half of which looked terribly hungover or still a little bit drunk. "Move it, Marine!" Daz hurriedly moved to the back of one of the lines, and they resumed marching. Waiting for a moment to slip away, Daz heard shouting. "One of them soldiers is a thief!" one of the watch was arguing with an officer. "Got a name?" the officer asked in a bored tone. "Joan Boyer." "Oh no, they found me," Daz thought, and was looking for any way to run for it. "A human?" The officer scoffed and waved at the dockyards, busy with Marines being marched everywhere. "Do you see any humans here?" "Well, no, but the spell got misdirected," the officer said. "I don't have time for this nonsense. Good day, sir." "Yep, that makes sense to me." The officer waved him out of the dockyards, then marched off, getting back to business. The watchman scowled and peered sharply about the yard. Daz, relieved at the lucky break, decided to stay with the unit as they were marched aboard the Void Chaser. Yeah, that's perfect. That would be totally the reaction. That's a human name. We don't have any fucking humans here. Bug off. You know? Yes. That's... yeah. Well, you guys kept threatening to eat us there, Siobhan. But we did kind of make up for the tourney. It was the closest color I could find. Yeah, it works. I went gray. Okay. Gwen says, "I've got my AC cranked up and I can still feel the heat coming through the floor from the crawl space, 108 degrees and not yet 3 p.m. Oh, God. It's only 34 here, Celsius. Moonflower says, "Okay, I'll try to get that right, but it'll probably be a bit off. I don't know why I turned blank gray. I'm not sure either. Weird." Alasia is where Aiden Moonflower is from, just for the record. Awesome. Daughter of some pretty wealthy nobles, says Moon. Excellent. That makes sense. Siobhan says, well, I should say the leaders of the houses are good friends. Yeah. I mean, IRL we are, right? Well, okay, gang, we're about halfway through this sprint. I think I'm going to call it here, though. So I'm going to look for somebody else to raid. Do we know who's on? Nobody in the calendar. Ooh. Okay. Right, that's a big blank spot. Well, who's on Twitch? Go over here and find out. Jeez. I don't think I know anybody here. GaryCon Live is live, but... And the DM layer, neither one will notice if I raid them. So... I'm not sure. How do you spell the proper city name? Like this. And actually that's the country. What is the city called? I don't remember what the city's called. Okay. Alright guys, I'm going to call it quits here. I guess it can't hurt to raid the DM's lair. It's not like they'll notice, but... I mean, I got no one else to raid, and you know, it's just rude to not raid, so I think. So we'll do that. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. If you're into our Toy Soldiers game, we will see you in a little under 3 hours. Sylphie 3? Tell me about Sylphie 3. Who is Sylphie 3? I'll put that up. James says, thanks for the showcase and help. Always a pleasure, guys. They would notice a raid and are writing fanfic. Okay, well, hey, I'm all for supporting writers out there. That sounds great. So we're going to raid Sylphie 3, who I've never met. But hey, let's, you know, give them a right roaring good Sable's Privateers welcome. Be sure to shout, prepare to be boarded. You know, be friendly and say hi. Oh, one viewer? Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. I like bringing in the lot of you on viewers where, you know, people have like a small number of viewers. I think that's an awesome thing. Really good opportunity to do. So, hey, check them out. And, you know, I believe in supporting writers. So, you know, give them a follow if you're inclined. And this has been a lot of fun, guys. I will see you in a few hours. Daz and Moon, I'm gonna just double check to make sure whether Jamie's working today. I'm pretty sure he is, in which case, if you guys want to meet around 5-ish to discuss how we're gonna, you know, I think for Moon, I'll just give you writer credit. And, you know, Daz will chat about what we're gonna do. I'll just set you up as a writer, Moon, to see which works best for Daz. And thanks, guys. If you don't want to check us out for our game, Monday is our day off. Tuesday, Aaron will be back for Ask an Old GM at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, 10 p.m. in the UK, 7 o'clock in the morning, Australian Eastern Time. And I'm back on Wednesday. Have a good time zone, everyone, and I'll see you later.